When Western intelligence satellites first spotted these machines, analysts couldn't believe their eyes. Aircraft so massive they needed 6 engines, tanks with 5 turrets, and flying boats that, honestly, just seemed to defy physics itself. Today on Sci and Why, we're unveiling 10 Soviet engineering marvels so outrageous that the world thought they were propaganda hoaxes. These weren't just machines, they were statements of impossible ambition, each one pushing the boundaries of what engineering could achieve. From sky giants to land battleships, these Soviet creations didn't just challenge expectations, they shattered them completely. The Antonov An-225 Mriya, the sky giant. The Antonov An-225 Mriya was so massive it could carry 50 cars in its cargo hold, and it needed 6 engines just to get off the ground. The An-225 Mriya, meaning dream in Ukrainian, was the largest aircraft ever built. Designed in the 1980s by the Antonov Design Bureau, this colossal cargo plane measured 275 feet long with a wingspan of 290 feet, longer than a football field. Originally created to transport the Soviet Buran space shuttle, the An-225 featured 6 Progress D-18T turbofan engines, producing over 300,000 pounds of combined thrust. Its cargo hold stretched 142 feet long, 21 feet wide, and 14 feet high, spacious enough to transport entire locomotives or wind turbine blades. The aircraft's 32-wheel landing gear system distributed its maximum takeoff weight of 640 tons across multiple contact points. Only one An-225 was ever completed, making its maiden flight on December 21, 1988. The aircraft set 110 world records simultaneously during a single flight in 1989, including heaviest aircraft ever built and largest wingspan of any operational aircraft. After the Soviet space program ended, the Mriya found new life hauling oversized cargo for commercial clients, becoming a global sensation wherever it landed. Tragically, this unique aircraft was destroyed during the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine at Antonov Airport, though plans exist to rebuild it using parts from the second incomplete airframe. The T-35 heavy tank, the land battleship. The T-35 was the only 5-turreted tank ever mass-produced, requiring a crew of 10 soldiers to operate its multiple weapon systems simultaneously. The Soviet T-35 heavy tank represented the ultimate expression of interwar multi-turret design philosophy. Measuring 31 feet long and weighing up to 55 tons, this land battleship featured 5 turrets armed with 176mm cannon, 2 45mm guns, and up to 7 machine guns. The main turret housed the primary 76.2mm KT-28 cannon with 360-degree rotation, while 4 smaller turrets provided overlapping fields of fire. Its massive size required a crew of 10 soldiers, including a commander, driver, radio operator, and multiple gunners. The T-35's complex design created internal cramping, with fighting compartments separated from each other and some turrets blocking entrance hatches. Powered by a 500-horsepower Mikulin M17M engine, the tank achieved a maximum speed of only 19 miles per hour due to its enormous weight. Between 1934 and 1939, only 59 production models were built at the Kharkov locomotive plant. The T-35 served primarily as a propaganda tool, participating in Red Square parades to demonstrate Soviet military might. During World War II, most T-35 tanks were lost due to mechanical failures rather than enemy action, proving that complexity doesn't always equal effectiveness. Despite its impressive appearance, the T-35 demonstrated the limitations of multi-turret tank design, leading to simpler, more reliable designs. The Lund-class Ekranoplan, the flying warship. The Lund-class Ekranoplan was the only ground-effect vehicle ever deployed as an operational warship, flying just 13 feet above the water at 342 miles per hour. The Lund-class Ekranoplan represented a revolutionary fusion of aircraft and naval vessel technologies. Designed by Rostislav Alexeyev in 1975, this massive ground-effect vehicle measured 242 feet long with a 144-foot wingspan, weighing over 380 tons. The Lund operated using ground effect, a phenomenon where air compressed between wings and water surface creates a high-pressure cushion for lift. This allowed the craft to fly at altitudes of just 13 feet above water, while achieving speeds up to 342 miles per hour. Armed with 6 P-270 Mosket anti-ship missiles, The Loon served as a high-speed missile platform for the Soviet Caspian Flotilla from 1987 to the late 1990s. The International Maritime Organization classified ekranoplans as maritime ships, rather than aircraft, due to their unique operating characteristics. The Loon's military advantage lay in its ability to avoid underwater torpedoes like surface ships, while flying too low for radar detection like conventional aircraft. Only one Lun-class ekranoplan was completed before the Soviet Union's collapse ended the program. The surviving vehicle now sits preserved on the Caspian coast in Dagestan, Russia, serving as a monument to Soviet engineering ambition. Despite its innovative design, the Loon's operational limitations, including rough sea restrictions and saltwater corrosion, prevented widespread deployment. The Buran Space Shuttle, the Soviet space plane. The Buran Space Shuttle completed a fully automated orbital flight and landing in 1988, something NASA's space shuttle was never designed to do. The Buran spacecraft represented the Soviet Union's ambitious response to America's space shuttle program. Development began in 1974 with over 1,000 companies across the Soviet Union contributing to construction. Unlike NASA's shuttle, Buran launched aboard the expendable Energia rocket, with main engines remaining on the booster rather than the orbiter. The spacecraft measured similar to the American shuttle, but featured crucial differences in design and capability. Buran's most remarkable achievement was its fully automated flight capability. The spacecraft could launch, orbit, and land without human intervention. On November 15, 1988, Buran completed its only spaceflight, orbiting Earth twice in 208 minutes before executing a perfect automated landing. The mission demonstrated advanced Soviet computer technology and flight control systems decades ahead of their time. Buran was designed to carry up to 6 crew members and 30 tons of cargo to orbit, with the ability to return 20 tons to Earth. The spacecraft featured different thermal protection materials and could perform missions lasting up to 3 weeks. Despite its technological success, the Buran program was cancelled in 1993 due to the Soviet Union's collapse and funding shortages. The only space-flown Buran was destroyed in 2002 when its storage hangar collapsed at Baikonur Cosmodrome. The program's legacy lives on in modern Russian space technology and serves as proof of Soviet engineering excellence. The VDNKH robot, the Soviet android dream. Soviet engineers created humanoid robots in the 1950s that could perform 18 different commands, see, hear, and interact with amazed exhibition audiences. The VDNKH robot represented the Soviet Union's early venture into humanoid robotics and technological showmanship. Developed by young technicians under Boris Vasilenko's guidance, these robots were designed to demonstrate Soviet technological capabilities at the famous VDNKH exhibition center in Moscow. The most advanced model stood 1.8 meters tall and could execute 18 different commands via radio control, including movement, gesture recognition, and basic interaction. These robots featured primitive vision and hearing capabilities using sensors to detect light and sound for responsive behavior. The VDNKH robots performed every 2 hours on a special stage built in front of the Electrification Pavilion, drawing crowds of amazed visitors. Beyond their mechanical functions, these robots symbolized Soviet optimism about the future, representing a vision where automation would support human progress. The project combined engineering innovation with theatrical presentation, capturing public imagination about human-machine collaboration. Soviet robotics development extended beyond exhibitions. By 1980, the USSR operated over 6,000 industrial robots, representing more than 20% of the world's total. The country pioneered planetary rovers, developing the first lunar rovers and Mars exploration vehicles. While primitive by modern standards, the VDNKH robots played a significant role in robotics history, demonstrating early concepts of autonomous behavior and human-robot interaction that would influence future development. The MAZ-7907, the 24-wheeled nuclear transporter. The MAZ 7907 remains the only vehicle ever built with 24-driven wheels, designed to transport 100-ton nuclear missiles across any terrain. The MAZ 7907 represented the ultimate expression of Soviet heavy transport engineering. Developed by the Minsk automobile plant in 1985, this colossal vehicle was designed specifically to transport the RT-23 Molodets intercontinental ballistic missile. Measuring 92 feet long, 13.5 feet wide, and 14.4 feet high, the MAZ 7907 featured an unprecedented 24-wheel drive system with 12 axles. Two 1,250 horsepower, Klimov GTD 1,250 TFM gas turbine engines, borrowed from T-80 tanks, powered electric generators that drove individual 30-kilowatt motors at each wheel. This turbine electric transmission system provided exceptional traction and maneuverability across difficult terrain. The vehicle's articulated frame design allowed it to navigate rough roads while maintaining stability for its 150-ton payload capacity. 8 of the 12 axles were steerable, enabling the 92-foot vehicle to achieve a turning radius of just 88 feet. The MAZ 7907's independent hydropneumatic suspension provided 6.6 feet of ground clearance and exceptional off-road capability. Only 2 prototypes were ever built before the Cold War's end eliminated the need for road-mobile nuclear missiles. One MAZ 7907 was famously used in 1996 to transport an 88-ton ship 250 kilometers across Belarus, demonstrating its incredible hauling capacity. The surviving vehicle now resides in a museum representing the pinnacle of Soviet heavy transport technology and the lengths engineers would go to move the unmovable. The Caspian Sea Monster, the original Ekranoplan. The KM, also known as the Caspian Sea Monster, was so massive and mysterious that, honestly, American spy satellites just couldn't figure out if it was a plane, a ship, or maybe even some kind of secret weapon. The KM, or Korabl Maket Ekranoplan, which CIA analysts nicknamed the Caspian Sea Monster, was actually the world's first operational ground effect vehicle. Developed by the Central Hydrofoil Design Bureau back in the 1960s, this experimental craft measured an incredible 348 feet long, with a wingspan of 123 feet, making it the largest aircraft in the world from 1966 all the way to 1988. The KM used ground effect, flying within just 13 feet of the water's surface, where compressed air would create a sort of lifting cushion underneath. 8 massive turbofan engines gave it the thrust to reach speeds up to 300 miles per hour, skimming right across the Caspian Sea. Now, when American satellites first spotted the KM in 1966, intelligence analysts were, well, absolutely baffled by its purpose and appearance. The craft looked like nothing they had ever seen before, way too large to be a conventional aircraft and just too fast to be any kind of ship. The CIA's confusion actually led to some pretty elaborate surveillance attempts, including, believe it or not, plans to use robotic birds for closer reconnaissance. The KM began its operations in 1966, and underwent continuous testing by the Soviet Navy until 1980. This massive craft really demonstrated the viability of ground effect flight for military applications, and it ended up inspiring later Ekranoplan designs. Its career came to an end in 1980, when pilot error caused the KM to crash into the Caspian Sea, though thankfully, no lives were lost. The KM's legacy still lives on in modern ground effect vehicle development, proving that Soviet engineers were honestly decades ahead of their time in exploring these unconventional flight technologies. The Tsar tank, the tricycle fortress. The Tsar tank featured 2 massive 27-foot diameter wheels in front and looked more like a giant tricycle than a military vehicle. The Tsar tank represented one of the most bizarre armored vehicle designs in military history. Officially designated as the Netopir, or Bat, this enormous machine was built in 1915 during World War I as an experimental breakthrough weapon. The tank's most distinctive feature was its massive front wheels, each measuring 27 feet in diameter, with a smaller 5-foot wheel at the rear creating a tricycle configuration. This unusual design was intended to cross trenches and obstacles that would stop conventional vehicles. The Tsar tank measured over 60 feet long and stood nearly 30 feet tall, making it visible from great distances. 240 horsepower engines powered the front wheels, while the rear wheel provided steering control. The vehicle's crew compartment was positioned between the giant wheels, armed with multiple machine guns and cannons. Despite its imposing appearance, the Tsar tank proved to be a mechanical disaster during testing. The massive front wheels created enormous ground pressure, causing the vehicle to become stuck in soft terrain. The rear wheel was too small to provide adequate support, causing the tank to tip backward when climbing obstacles. After several failed tests, the project was abandoned in 1915, and the prototype was left to rust in the Russian countryside. The Tsar tank's failure demonstrated that bigger isn't always better in military engineering, though its audacious design continues to fascinate military historians and engineers today. The Mil V-12 Homer, the flying praying mantis. The Mil V-12 helicopter was so enormous it needed 6 crew members, including an electrician, just to keep it airborne, and it still holds the world helicopter lifting record. The Mil V-12, nicknamed Homer, represented the ultimate expression of Soviet helicopter engineering. Unveiled by the Mil Moscow helicopter plant in 1968, this colossal rotorcraft measured 67 meters from rotor tip to rotor tip, making it the largest helicopter ever built. The aircraft's distinctive appearance, resembling a praying mantis in permanent threat display, reflected its ominous purpose, transporting intercontinental nuclear missiles to launch sites. 4 massive turboshaft engines powered the V-12's twin rotor systems, requiring a crew of 6, including an electrician, to manage the complex electrical systems. In 1969, a brave test crew achieved an unbreakable world record by lifting a 40,000-kilogram payload to an altitude of 2.25 kilometers. The helicopter's side-by-side rotor configuration eliminated the need for a tail rotor while providing exceptional lifting capacity. Despite its impressive capabilities, the Mil V-12 became obsolete before entering service due to the development of mobile missile launchers. The strategic shift toward road-mobile nuclear missiles eliminated the need for helicopter transport, making the V-12 redundant. Only 2 prototypes were ever built before the program ended in 1974. One surviving aircraft is preserved at the Central Air Force Museum near Moscow, where visitors can witness this engineering marvel firsthand. The Mil V-12's legacy demonstrates Soviet willingness to push engineering boundaries regardless of practical limitations, creating machines that existed at the very edge of possibility. The screw-propelled vehicle, the all-terrain spiral. Soviet engineers created vehicles that moved using giant rotating screws instead of wheels, capable of traveling through snow, swamps, and even water. The Soviet screw-propelled vehicle represented one of the most unusual transportation solutions ever devised. These vehicles, known as Archimedes screw vehicles, used large helical screws instead of conventional wheels or tracks for propulsion. The rotating screws could grip virtually any surface: snow, mud, sand, or even water, providing unmatched all-terrain capability. Various models were developed throughout the Soviet era, from small personnel carriers to massive cargo transporters. The screw's helical design allowed the vehicles to literally swim through soft terrain that would trap wheeled or tracked vehicles. Some variants featured multiple screws arranged in parallel, providing redundancy and improved stability. The vehicles could traverse frozen rivers, deep snow, marshlands, and even open water with equal ease. Soviet engineers experimented with different screw configurations, including variable pitch screws that could adjust their grip based on terrain conditions. These vehicles found applications in Arctic exploration, military logistics, and remote area transportation, where conventional vehicles failed. The screw-propelled design proved particularly valuable in Siberian conditions, where extreme cold and varied terrain challenged traditional transportation methods. While never mass-produced, these vehicles demonstrated Soviet engineering creativity in solving unique transportation challenges. Modern versions of screw-propelled vehicles continue to be used in specialized applications, proving that sometimes the most unusual solutions are the most effective for extreme conditions. From flying battleships that skimmed the seas to tanks with 5 turrets and helicopters that could lift entire buildings, these Soviet machines pushed engineering to its absolute limits. Each creation represented bold thinking that refused to accept impossible as an answer. If you're amazed by these incredible engineering marvels and want to explore more mind-bending Soviet innovations, smash that like button, share your favorite machine in the comments, and subscribe to Sci and Y for more journeys into the world's most extraordinary technologies. Thanks for watching. Keep dreaming big. When radar screens go dark and missiles streak through the night, only one thing matters: which fighter emerges victorious. Today on Sci and Y, we're unveiling 10 aircraft that turned pilots into legends and battles into history lessons. These aren't just machines, they're the apex predators of the sky, each one a masterpiece of engineering that changed warfare forever. From the Cold War's deadliest hunters to today's stealth assassins, these fighters didn't just participate in history, they wrote it. McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II, the supersonic workhorse. The F-4 Phantom II was so versatile that it became the only fighter jet ever used simultaneously by the United States Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps, while setting 15 world records in the process. The McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II stands as America's most prolific supersonic fighter, with 5,195 aircraft built between 1958 and 1981. Originally designed for the United States Navy as a fleet defense interceptor, the Phantom proved so exceptional that it was adopted by all three American military branches. The twin-engine tandem two-seat fighter could reach speeds exceeding Mach 2.2 and carry over 18,000 pounds of weapons on 9 external hardpoints. What made the F-4 revolutionary was its beyond visual range combat capability, using advanced radar and missile systems instead of traditional dogfighting tactics. During the Vietnam War, the Phantom claimed 280 aerial victories, more than any other American aircraft in the conflict. All 5 American servicemen who became aces during Vietnam achieved their status flying F-4S. The aircraft's unique design initially omitted an internal cannon, relying entirely on missiles for air-to-air combat. This philosophy reflected the era's belief that future aerial warfare would be fought at long range using guided weapons. The F-4 set numerous world records, including absolute speed and altitude achievements, proving its exceptional performance capabilities. Its robust construction allowed it to serve in multiple roles: air superiority fighter, ground attack aircraft, and reconnaissance platform, making it truly the workhorse of Cold War aviation. Mikhail Gurevich MiG-21, the Flying Coffin. The MiG-21 became the most produced supersonic aircraft in history, with over 11,000 built, yet earned the terrifying nickname Flying Coffin due to its deadly safety record. The Mikhail Gurevich MiG-21, NATO codename Fishbed, represents the pinnacle of Soviet mass production philosophy applied to fighter aircraft. First flying in 1956, this single-engine interceptor was designed to be simple, fast, and inexpensive to manufacture. The MiG-21's delta wing configuration and powerful afterburning engine enabled speeds exceeding Mach 2, making it a formidable opponent despite its small size. Over 11,000 MiG-21S were produced across multiple variants, serving with over 50 air forces worldwide. The aircraft proved its combat effectiveness during the Vietnam War, where nimble MiG-21S consistently outmaneuvered heavier American fighters like the F-4 Phantom. Its small radar cross-section and exceptional maneuverability made it difficult to detect and engage, leading to numerous successful engagements against technologically superior opponents. However, the MiG-21's reputation was tarnished by significant safety issues, particularly in Indian Air Force service, where over 170 pilots and 40 civilians lost their lives in accidents since 1970. The aircraft's afterburning engine operated dangerously close to its surge point, making it vulnerable to flameouts from even minor foreign object ingestion. Despite these challenges, the MiG-21 remained in production until 1985, and continues serving with several air forces today. Its Chinese-built variant, the Chengdu J-7, extends the design's legacy into the 21st century, proving the enduring value of Soviet engineering philosophy. McDonnell Douglas FA-18 Hornet, the versatile warrior. The FA-18 Hornet was the first fighter jet designed from the ground up to excel equally in air-to-air combat and ground attack missions, earning its unique FA designation. The McDonnell Douglas FA-18 Hornet revolutionized naval aviation by combining fighter and attack capabilities in a single airframe. Derived from the Northrop YF-17 in the 1970s, the twin-engine Hornet was specifically designed for aircraft carrier operations while maintaining exceptional versatility. The aircraft entered service with the United States Navy and Marine Corps in 1983, quickly proving its worth in multiple combat roles. Its first combat action came during the 1986 Operation El Dorado Canyon strikes against Libya, where Hornets successfully performed both air-to-air and ground attack missions. The FA-18's advanced fly-by-wire flight controls and excellent aerodynamic design provided exceptional handling characteristics, making it equally capable of dogfighting and precision bombing. During Operation Desert Storm in 1991, Hornets demonstrated their versatility by shooting down Iraqi MiG-21S and attacking ground targets in the same missions. The aircraft's reliability and maintainability made it ideal for carrier operations, where space and resources are limited. The United States Navy's Blue Angels flight demonstration team adopted the Hornet in 1986, making it the longest-serving aircraft in the squadron's history. The FA-18's modular avionics architecture allowed continuous upgrades throughout its service life, keeping it relevant against evolving threats. Its success led to the development of the larger F/A-18E/F Super Hornet, which continues the legacy of multi-role excellence in modern naval aviation. Dassault Rafale, the French omni-role master. The Dassault Rafale is, honestly, the only fighter jet in the world officially designated as omni-role, capable of performing every conceivable military aviation mission from a single platform. The Rafale really represents France's independent approach to advanced fighter design, which was born out of disagreements with European partners over the future European fighter aircraft program. So, when France withdrew from the multinational project back in 1985, Dassault went ahead with an ambitious solo development program that would eventually create one of the world's most capable multi-role fighters. The twin-engine Canard Delta wing aircraft first flew in 1986 and entered service with the French Navy in 2001, followed by the Air Force in 2006. The Rafale's omni-role designation reflects its ability to perform air supremacy, interdiction, reconnaissance, ground support, anti-ship strikes, and even nuclear deterrence missions, all without modification. Some of its advanced features include the RBE-2 active electronically scanned array radar, the Optronique Sector frontal infrared search and track system, and direct voice input controls, all of which were developed domestically in France. The aircraft proved its combat effectiveness during its first deployment in Afghanistan in 2007, where it performed precision strikes using laser-guided bombs. Subsequent operations against ISIS in 2014 and Libya in 2011 really demonstrated the Rafale's versatility in modern conflicts. Its export success includes orders from Egypt, India, Qatar, Greece, Croatia, Indonesia, and the United Arab Emirates, which just goes to show its international appeal. With over 260 aircraft delivered and continuous production still ongoing, the Rafale truly represents France's technological independence and engineering excellence in military aviation. Eurofighter Typhoon, the European collaboration. The Eurofighter Typhoon required 4 nations, 3 decades, and wow, over $20 billion to develop. But it created Europe's most advanced air superiority fighter. The Typhoon actually emerged from the complex European fighter aircraft program, representing this kind of unprecedented cooperation between the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, and Spain. Development kicked off in 1983, when these nations set out to create a next-generation air superiority fighter to counter Soviet threats. The program managed to survive France's withdrawal in 1985, and despite numerous political challenges, produced one of the world's most advanced combat aircraft. The twin-engine Canard Delta wing fighter first flew in 1994 and entered service in 2003, featuring cutting-edge technologies like thrust vectoring, advanced radar systems, and sophisticated electronic warfare capabilities. The Typhoon's aerodynamic design provides exceptional maneuverability, and its EJ-200 engines enable supercruise capability, meaning sustained supersonic flight without afterburners. The aircraft's distributed manufacturing approach involves all 4 partner nations, with final assembly lines in multiple countries. Advanced avionics include the Captor-M mechanically scanned radar, which is currently being upgraded to the Captor-E active electronically scanned array system for even better performance. The Typhoon achieved initial operational capability with the Italian Air Force in 2005, followed by the RAF in 2006. Combat deployments include air policing missions over the Baltics, operations in Libya, and ongoing quick reaction alert duties across Europe. Export success includes sales to Austria, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, and Qatar, which really demonstrates international confidence in European aerospace capabilities. The Typhoon program stands as the largest European defense collaboration in history, proving that multinational cooperation can, in fact, produce world-class military technology. McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, the undefeated champion. The F-15 Eagle has achieved, get this, over 104 aerial victories without a single loss in air-to-air combat, making it the most successful fighter jet in modern history. The McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle stands as the ultimate air superiority fighter, designed in response to intelligence reports of advanced Soviet aircraft in the late 1960s. This twin-engine, twin-tail fighter first flew in July 1972 and entered service in 1976, immediately establishing itself as the world's premier air-to-air combat aircraft. The F-15's exceptional thrust-to-weight ratio allows it to accelerate vertically right after takeoff, while its advanced radar and missile systems provide beyond visual range engagement capability. Its remarkable combat record includes victories by the Israeli Air Force during the 1982 Lebanon War, where F-15S shot down numerous Syrian aircraft without loss. During the 1991 Gulf War, USAF F-15S achieved 36 of the 39 confirmed air-to-air kills, including 5 Iraqi fighters shot down in a single day. The Eagle's success really comes from its combination of superior performance, advanced avionics, and exceptional pilot training. Its APG-63 radar system, later upgraded to the APG-70 and APG-63 V3 variants, provides outstanding detection and tracking capabilities. The F-15's large internal fuel capacity enables extended combat missions without refueling, while its robust construction allows high-G maneuvering in combat. The aircraft also spawned the F-15E Strike Eagle variant, adding significant ground attack capability while maintaining air-to-air excellence. Despite being designed back in the 1970s, the F-15 remains in production with the latest F-15X variant, proving the enduring value of its fundamental design. The Eagle's undefeated record and continued relevance make it without a doubt the gold standard for air superiority fighters. Sukhoi Su-27, the Soviet Skydancer. The Sukhoi Su-27 can perform the legendary Cobra maneuver, pointing its nose 90 degrees upward while maintaining forward flight, a feat impossible for most Western fighters. The Sukhoi Su-27, NATO codename Flanker, represents the pinnacle of Soviet aeronautical engineering and the USSR's answer to American fourth-generation fighters. Development began in 1969 as a direct response to the F-15 Eagle, with the goal of creating a long-range air superiority fighter capable of defending Soviet airspace. The twin-engine single-seat fighter first flew in 1977 and entered service in 1985, immediately establishing itself as one of the world's most capable combat aircraft. The Su-27's massive size, comparable to the F-15, houses large internal fuel tanks providing exceptional range exceeding 3,000 kilometers. Its powerful AL-31F engines and advanced aerodynamic design enable super maneuverability, including the famous Cobra maneuver where the aircraft can point its nose skyward while maintaining forward momentum. The fighter's sophisticated radar and missile systems include the N001 Mayak radar and capability for up to 10 air-to-air missiles, making it a formidable beyond visual range combatant. The Su-27's combat effectiveness was demonstrated during various conflicts, including successful engagements against advanced Western aircraft. The aircraft's robust construction and simple maintenance requirements made it ideal for Soviet operational philosophy. The Su-27 spawned an entire family of variants, including the Su-30 multi-role fighter, Su-33 naval variant, and Su-35 advanced air superiority fighter. Export success includes sales to China, India, Indonesia, and numerous other nations, with licensed production in China as the Shenyang J-11. The Su-27's combination of range, payload, and maneuverability continues to influence modern fighter design, really proving Soviet engineering excellence. Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor, the Invisible Predator. The F-22 Raptor is so stealthy that its radar signature is, honestly, smaller than a marble, while its super cruise capability allows sustained Mach 1.5 flight without afterburners. The Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor represents the pinnacle of stealth fighter technology and is the world's very first fifth-generation combat aircraft. Born from the Advanced Tactical Fighter program back in the 1980s, the F-22 was designed to ensure American air superiority well into the 21st century. The twin-engine single-seat fighter first flew in 1997 and entered service in 2005, incorporating revolutionary technologies including stealth, supercruise, and advanced avionics integration. The Raptor's angular design and radar-absorbent materials reduce its radar cross-section to that of a small bird, making it virtually invisible to enemy sensors. Its Pratt & Whitney F-119 engines with thrust vectoring provide exceptional maneuverability and enable supercruise, sustained supersonic flight without afterburners, giving it a significant tactical advantage. The F-22's APG-77 active electronically scanned array radar can track multiple targets simultaneously while remaining undetected through low probability of intercept technology. Advanced sensor fusion combines radar, infrared, and electronic warfare data into a comprehensive battlefield picture displayed on high-resolution cockpit screens. The aircraft's internal weapons bays maintain stealth characteristics while carrying AIM-120 AMRAAM and AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles, plus a 20mm cannon for close combat. Despite its advanced capabilities, F-22 production was limited to 195 aircraft due to high costs and changing threat perceptions. The Raptor achieved its first air-to-air kill in 2023, shooting down a Chinese surveillance balloon off the North Carolina coast. Its combination of stealth, speed, and situational awareness makes it the most advanced air superiority fighter ever built. Grumman F-14 Tomcat, the Fleet Defender. The F-14 Tomcat could simultaneously track 24 targets and engage 6 of them with its Phoenix missiles from over 100 miles away, capabilities unmatched by any other fighter of its era. The Grumman F-14 Tomcat served as the U.S. Navy's premier fleet defense interceptor for over 3 decades, designed specifically to protect carrier battle groups from Soviet bomber threats. The twin-engine two-seat fighter first flew in 1970 and entered service in 1974, featuring revolutionary variable sweep wing technology that optimized performance across all flight regimes. The F-14's most distinctive feature was its AWG-9 radar system and AIM-54 Phoenix missile combination, capable of engaging multiple targets simultaneously at unprecedented ranges. The aircraft's variable geometry wings automatically adjusted from 20 to 68 degrees sweep, based on flight conditions, providing excellent low-speed handling for carrier operations and high-speed performance for intercept missions. Powered by 2 Pratt & Whitney TF-30 or General Electric F-110 engines, the Tomcat could reach speeds exceeding Mach 2.3 while carrying up to 6 Phoenix missiles. The F-14's combat debut came with the Iranian Air Force during the Iran-Iraq War, where it achieved numerous victories against Iraqi aircraft. U.S. Navy Tomcats saw action in various conflicts, including the 1981 Gulf of Sidra incident where 2 F-14s shot down Libyan Su-22s, and operations over Afghanistan and Iraq. The aircraft's large size and powerful engines made it ideal for long-range patrol missions over vast ocean areas. Hollywood immortalized the F-14 in the 1986 film Top Gun, making it one of the most recognizable military aircraft in popular culture. Despite its capabilities, the Tomcat was retired in 2006, replaced by the smaller but more versatile F/A-18E/F Super Hornet. The F-14's legacy lives on as the ultimate fleet defender, proving that specialized aircraft can really excel in their intended roles. General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon, the Viper. The F-16 Fighting Falcon has been produced in greater numbers than any other Western fighter aircraft, with over 4,600 built and serving in 25 air forces worldwide. The General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon revolutionized fighter aircraft design through its lightweight, multi-role philosophy and became the most successful Western fighter export in history. Developed in the 1970s as part of the lightweight fighter program, the single-engine F-16 first flew in 1974 and entered service in 1978. The aircraft's innovative design featured the first production use of fly-by-wire flight controls, relaxed static stability, and a side-mounted control stick. The F-16's bubble canopy provides exceptional visibility, while its reclined ejection seat helps pilots withstand high G-forces during aggressive maneuvering. The fighter's General Electric F-100 or Pratt & Whitney F-110 engine provides excellent thrust-to-weight ratio, enabling sustained 9G turns and impressive climb performance. Advanced avionics include multi-mode radar, head-up display, and hands-on throttle and stick controls that reduce pilot workload during combat. The F-16's modular design allows easy configuration changes for different missions, from air-to-air combat to precision ground attack. Combat experience includes Israeli operations in Lebanon, where F-16s achieved numerous air-to-air victories, and extensive use during Operation Desert Storm. The aircraft's reliability and cost-effectiveness made it attractive to numerous allied nations, leading to licensed production in Belgium, Netherlands, Turkey, and South Korea. Continuous upgrades have kept the F-16 relevant against modern threats, with the latest Block 70 and 72 variants featuring advanced radar and electronic warfare systems. The Fighting Falcon's success demonstrates that smaller, less expensive fighters can be highly effective when properly designed and equipped. Its combination of performance, versatility, and affordability ensures continued service well into the 2030s. From the record-breaking F-4 Phantom to the invisible F-22 Raptor, these 10 legendary fighters represent the evolution of aerial warfare over 6 decades. Each aircraft pushed the boundaries of technology and tactics, shaping the skies above countless battlefields. If you're fascinated by these incredible flying machines and want to explore more aviation legends, hit that like button, share your favorite fighter in the comments, and subscribe to Sci and Y for more deep dives into the aircraft that changed history. Thanks for watching. Keep reaching for the skies. The Cold War wasn't just fought with spies and missiles, it raged across the cosmos, with both superpowers secretly racing to conquer Mars. While NASA's missions dominated headlines, the Soviet Union conducted over a dozen classified Mars expeditions that vanished from official records. These weren't publicity stunts, but, genuine attempts to reach another world, hidden behind layers of government secrecy. One Soviet probe actually accomplished what took NASA decades to achieve: a successful soft landing on the Martian surface. Tonight we're exposing the buried truth about humanity's first secret war with Mars. The shadow race begins. The year 1960 marked the beginning of humanity's most secretive space race. Soviet engineers took their R-7 ICBM, originally designed to deliver nuclear warheads to American cities, and quietly modified it for an unprecedented mission reaching Mars. Mars, 1960. A became the first interplanetary launch attempt in human history on October 10, 1960. The massive rocket roared to life at Baikonur Cosmodrome, carrying a small probe across 190 million miles of space. But just seconds after liftoff, everything went catastrophically wrong. The rocket lost control, veered off course, and the self-destruct command was triggered almost immediately. The explosion lit up the Kazakh steppes, but to the outside world, it was just another routine launch. 4 days later they tried again with Mars 1960B. This time the rocket reached orbit before the upper stage failed, leaving the probe stranded. Within hours it burned up during re-entry, becoming Cosmos 60 in official records. These first attempts established a pattern of ambitious goals and spectacular failures that would define the Soviet Mars program for the next decade. The propaganda machine. Failure in the Soviet Union wasn't just embarrassing, it was politically dangerous and potentially career-ending for the engineers involved. Every Mars mission that exploded, crashed, or vanished was immediately reclassified under the generic Cosmos program, a catch-all designation for Earth-orbiting satellites. This brilliant deception allowed Soviet officials to sweep their Mars disasters under the rug while maintaining their image of technological superiority during the height of the Cold War. When Western analysts later examined launch records, they discovered dozens of suspicious gaps and unexplained mission designations that didn't match orbital patterns. The 2MV spacecraft family, designed specifically for Mars exploration, officially never existed in Soviet documentation. Engineers worked around the clock on these phantom projects, building cutting-edge technology that would be denied if it failed and buried if it succeeded. The secrecy was so complete that even today some mission details remain classified in Russian archives. This shadow war of information meant that every Soviet victory or defeat at Mars happened in complete silence, with only a select few knowing the true scope of their interplanetary ambitions and the massive resources being poured into conquering the Red Planet. Mars 1, the pioneer that vanished. November 1, 1962 witnessed something extraordinary. The first spacecraft to successfully leave Earth's gravitational influence and head toward Mars. Mars 1 wasn't just another failed experiment, it was a technological marvel that proved interplanetary travel was genuinely possible for human civilization. The probe carried sophisticated instruments including a magnetometer, radiation detectors, and sensors designed to sniff out water vapor in the thin Martian atmosphere. For 106 million miles, Mars 1 coasted through the cosmic void, sending back 61 successful transmissions about the hostile radiation environment of deep space. Soviet engineers monitored its progress with growing excitement as their creation approached the Red Planet, becoming humanity's first ambassador to another world. Then, on March 21, 1963, just as Mars came into view through the probe's instruments, all contact was lost forever. The most likely culprit was a gas leak in the attitude control system, causing the spacecraft to tumble and lose antenna alignment with Earth. Mars 1 probably drifted past its target, becoming humanity's first artificial comet, forever sailing through interplanetary space in eternal silence, carrying Soviet technology into the cosmic deep where it remains today. The Advanced Fleet. By the mid-1960s, Soviet spacecraft had evolved into genuine interplanetary explorers, equipped with cutting-edge technology that, honestly, rivaled anything the Americans were developing. Zond 2, which launched in late 1964, really represented the pinnacle of Soviet engineering with its 6 experimental plasma thrusters and an infrared spectrometer capable of detecting vegetation signatures on Mars from millions of miles away. The mission flew toward Mars for nearly 6 months before, yet again, another heartbreaking communication failure ended the dream just as success seemed within reach. The probe missed Mars by approximately 1,000 miles, agonizingly close to photographic history and scientific breakthrough. But behind the scenes at Baikonur, something much bigger was brewing in the assembly halls. Soviet engineers had learned from each failure and were designing their most ambitious project yet, Mars 1969A and Mars 1969B. These weren't just small scientific probes but massive spacecraft, about the size of small buses, loaded with advanced imaging equipment, surface scanners, and long-range communication systems. One was designed to orbit Mars, while the other would attempt the first soft landing in history. The Proton K rocket, standing 190 feet tall and generating over 2.4 million pounds of thrust, would carry these technological monsters across the solar system to humanity's first real attempt at conquering another world. The Great Explosions. March 27, 1969 should have been the Soviet Union's greatest space triumph and honestly a defining moment in human history. Instead, it became their most spectacular disaster, one that would haunt the program for years. Mars, 1969. A sat atop the massive Proton K rocket, ready to make history as the first orbiter-lander combination to reach Mars and establish permanent contact with another planet. The countdown hit 0. Engines roared to life with tremendous force, and then just seconds after liftoff, the entire launch vehicle erupted into a fireball visible for miles across the Kazakh steppes. The explosion was so massive it shattered windows in nearby villages and sent flaming debris hurtling across the launch complex, destroying equipment worth millions of rubles. Everything, the probe, the rocket, the launch tower, was obliterated in one of the largest launch failures in Soviet history. 5 days later, Mars 1969. B met an equally catastrophic fate when its upper stage failed during separation, sending the precious payload tumbling back into Earth's atmosphere, where it burned up completely. 2 multi-million-dollar missions with years of planning and the hopes of an entire nation, all gone in less than a week. The Soviet Union buried these disasters so completely that Western intelligence agencies didn't learn about them for decades. The historic touchdown. November 27, 1971 marked a pivotal moment in human history, though honestly, almost nobody on Earth knew it was happening at the time. Mars 2 screamed into the Martian atmosphere at over 13,000 miles per hour, becoming the first human-made object to physically touch another planet's surface in the history of our species. The landing wasn't gentle, the parachute system failed catastrophically, and the probe slammed into Mars at high speed, creating humanity's first interplanetary crater somewhere in the southern hemisphere. But just days later, Mars 3 achieved something truly extraordinary that changed everything. On December 2nd, its complex landing systems worked exactly as designed. Parachutes deployed properly, retro rockets fired on schedule, and the lander made a controlled descent through a raging planet-wide dust storm that had been building for weeks. For exactly 14.5 seconds, clear signals transmitted from the Martian surface, the first successful soft landing in human history. The probe even managed to transmit one blurry, static-filled image of the alien landscape before a massive dust storm likely short-circuited its delicate electronics forever. Hidden within the lander was Prop M, a small rover about the size of a lunchbox, designed to waddle across Mars on metal skis. The rover was never deployed, and it remains buried somewhere in Martian dust today. The Lost Archives. The true scope of the Soviet Mars program remains one of space exploration's greatest mysteries, with crucial details still hidden in classified government archives. Declassified documents suggest at least 6 additional probes were launched under undisclosed designations, hidden within the Cosmos and Zond programs, to maintain complete secrecy about their true interplanetary missions. Some may have reached orbit successfully, others failed spectacularly at launch, and some may have been destroyed intentionally to prevent enemy intelligence gathering during the height of Cold War paranoia. Soviet archives from this era contain massive gaps, missing files, and heavily redacted mission reports that researchers are still trying to piece together decades later. Unlike American failures that were broadcast on live television for the world to see, Soviet disasters happened in complete silence behind the Iron Curtain. Engineers worked behind closed doors in windowless facilities, failure reports were immediately classified at the highest levels, and successful missions were often denied until decades later when political climates changed. This means we may never know the complete story of humanity's first attempts to reach Mars. The secrecy was so pervasive that even today, Russian space historians discover previously unknown missions in forgotten archive boxes, each one adding new chapters to this hidden history of interplanetary exploration and Cold War competition. The earthquake discovery. Modern Mars exploration has revealed something the Soviets never could have imagined in their wildest scientific dreams. The red planet is geologically active with a beating heart. Since 2018, NASA's InSight spacecraft has detected over 1,300 Marsquakes, using its incredibly sensitive seismometer that can detect ground movements smaller than the width of an atom. The strongest tremor, recorded in August 2021, reached magnitude 4.2, powerful enough to damage buildings and crack foundations on Earth. An even more powerful magnitude 5 tremor struck in May 2022, demonstrating that Mars isn't the dead, frozen world scientists once believed it to be. These aren't random vibrations but organized seismic events caused by tectonic movements and magma flows deep beneath the Martian surface, indicating active geological processes. Underground magma movements bend the planet's single lithospheric plate, creating earthquake-like tremors that ripple across the entire planet like waves in a cosmic ocean. This geological activity has profound implications for potential life, as it suggests heat sources and chemical processes that could support microorganisms in Mars's depths. The Soviets dreamed of studying Mars's surface, but they never realized they were targeting a world with an active, beating geological heart hidden far below the dusty exterior that continues pulsing today. The underground ocean. The most stunning discovery about Mars came in 2018, when Mars Express radar detected a massive underground lake beneath the planet's southern ice cap that rivals some of Earth's largest water bodies. This isn't a small pocket of water, but a vast reservoir spanning over 75,000 square kilometers, larger than many countries, and containing more water than some Earth nations use in decades. 3 additional bodies of water were found nearby, creating an interconnected underground ocean system that dwarfs anything the Soviet missions could have detected from the surface with their 1970s technology. In 2022, the ExoMars orbiter revealed even more water hidden in Valles Marineris, the massive canyon system running along Mars' equator like a planetary scar. This water covers an area the size of the Netherlands and sits just 3 feet beneath the surface, tantalizingly close to any future human explorers. On Earth, similar subglacial lakes in Antarctica contain microbes, fish, and other organisms thriving in complete darkness for millions of years. The Martian water may be extremely salty, potentially 20 times saltier than Earth's oceans, which would keep it liquid even in Mars' freezing temperatures that average -80 degrees Fahrenheit. These discoveries mean that Soviet landers may have been sitting directly on top of vast underground seas, completely unaware of the alien ocean world flowing beneath their landing pads. The future Soviet legacy. Every Soviet failure at Mars taught humanity crucial lessons about interplanetary exploration that directly benefit modern space missions today. Their pioneering work with atmospheric entry, parachute systems, and landing technology became the foundation for current Mars missions, proving that failure can be just as valuable as success in advancing human knowledge. NASA's Perseverance rover, which has discovered organic molecules in Jezero crater and continues making groundbreaking discoveries, landed using refined versions of heat shield and parachute techniques the Soviets attempted in 1971. The MOXIE experiment aboard Perseverance successfully converts Martian carbon dioxide into breathable oxygen at a rate of 5.4 grams per hour, exactly what Soviet engineers dreamed of achieving for future human missions. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk plans to land the first crewed mission on Mars by 2029, using Starship spacecraft powered by 14 Raptor engines capable of carrying 100 tons to the Martian surface. The proposed landing site is Valles Marineris, the same massive canyon system where Soviet orbiters first photographed the mysterious geological formations that we now know contain vast water reserves. When humans finally walk on Mars, they'll be fulfilling the ultimate goal of those secret Soviet missions, proving that Earth life can survive and thrive on another world, completing a journey that began in secrecy over 60 years ago behind the Iron Curtain. So there you have it, the secret Soviet Mars program that almost conquered the Red Planet decades before anyone else. Which part shocked you the most about these hidden missions? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed uncovering this buried space history, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who loves real space exploration stories, and don't forget to subscribe to Sci and Y for more declassified discoveries about our incredible universe. Until next time, keep questioning the official story and keep exploring the truth behind the headlines.